Oops. Hello and welcome to New Earth Lifestyles. I am JaneE King. Welcome. March 5th, 2015. We are here in downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Thank you for joining us today on this beautiful coming on spring day. It's not quite spring yet, but we're all hoping for spring soon. And we did have a little reprieve during the week of some warmer, above freezing temperatures, so that was kind of nice. So we're looking for springtime, and it is officially 2 weeks from tomorrow that is the first day of spring, and that is March 20th coming up, and that is also a new moon and an eclipse, I am understanding. A lunar eclipse, which is very powerful energy to help us in our changing as the equinoxes and these earth, moon, solar, celestial holidays, which I would call them, are great opportunities for us to go with the energies of that season, the energy of balance in this case. Equinox means balance, spring equinox, but also the energy of the new moon on the same day as the equinox. So the balance, also the new moon brings in new beginnings. The new moon means that there's no moon. The moon is a place in a place where the sun doesn't shine on it, so we don't see the moon at all on March 20th, on the first day of spring. And so we have a combination here of balance of equinox and the new moon, new beginnings. And then the third thing that's happening is a lunar eclipse. I believe it's a total lunar eclipse. And that's where the moon goes between the earth and the sun, exactly. So the moon will block out the sun, and you'll just get like a halo effect around the moon of the sun. And my understanding is that this particular day in 2015, with those three things occurring at the same time, this is very, very auspicious energy. Very big change is afoot. So if you're looking for change in your life, if you're waiting for that time when the time is right for you to make some changes, some new beginnings, change your job, change your place of living, change something, change your attitude, like just what I'm always talking about, which I always focus on for myself. Change your thought processes, change your outlook on life. Then coming up to this day from between now and the 20th, and then after the 20th, but there's like a cusp area, time, a bracket between now and a couple weeks after. So let's say the next month, the next 4 weeks, pardon me, though this right now is a good time for you to start considering, how do I want to change my life? Am I happy with the way things are going? Is there something I want different in my life? Is there a change that I want to make? Do I want to change my eating habits? Do I want to change my exercise? Do I want to change anything at all? Whatever it is that's in your life that you want to change, this is a great opportunity for you to have it happen easily. Move in with the energies, with all the energies that are moving in now, with the new moon and the eclipse and the spring equinox. It's all the energies of the cosmos, of the sun and the moon and the earth all being aligned. This is a great time, a fantastic time for you to take advantage of the celestial energies that are afoot and actually change your life, and know that you can do it, because I'm changing my life day to day, moment to moment. And so I thought I'd bring that up for you to know that this is an opportunity to consider, or just start to consider today, in the next couple weeks, and then maybe on the 20th, which is a Friday, in 2 weeks, you can actually step into, align yourself truly to that which you desire, and have it gently and easily start to flow to you, just by asking for it in a strong, commanding way. So asking the universe or God or the source energy exactly what it is that you want, put it out there, and then let it go. So take a deep breath for that one. And slow me down. I am working, you can tell my voice might be a little different, or maybe you can't tell, but I am kind of keeping a cold at bay right now, but it's sort of in my head and in my throat, so I am finding I need to clear my throat often. So if you hear me clearing my throat during the show and you continue watching You can take that as an opportunity for you to, instead of hearing the mindfulness bell, to hear my voice clearing my throat. That can be another mindfulness opportunity for you to stop and breathe. Because some people may become aggravated when they hear a person's voice clearing like that. And rather than getting whatever those feelings might be for you, so be curious about that. What are those feelings for you when I clear my voice, my throat? I would be curious about that, and that's an opportunity for you, if it bothers you, to really heal that, because this is my problem. This is my voice, my clearing my throat, what's going on in my body. So if it's bothering you, it's an opportunity for you to look at something that you can heal. And so it is. A beautiful day in the neighborhood here in Manchester, New Hampshire. And if you want to see any of my past shows, if something comes up that you wish you hadn't missed, or you wanted to show someone else any of my past shows, I do have a YouTube channel that I download all my shows onto, and it's called New Earth Lifestyles. Of course. And you could always go on YouTube and see anything you want there that you've seen on the show or missed from the show in the past year or so. Today, not only talking about the celestial changes happening, I wanted to delve into, it has everything to do with everything, and that is the big word, the big G word, G-O-D, God. Some people call it source energy God, the God force. Who is God? How do you connect in with God? Are you okay with that word God, or are you not okay with that word God? Because some people have a problem hearing that word. And I never did, so I'm going to talk about it today. But I can consider God also source energy. So there's another way of saying God, source, where we all come from. We come from the source, whatever that is in the universe, the source energy. We also can call God our creator. God created heaven and earth, right, according to the Bible. So God is our creator. And what else? What other words are there for God? Well, some people call God pure consciousness, pure light. If you have another word for God that I haven't brought up, please do call me. This is a call-in show today on March 5th, and that number is 413-0223. I'd love to hear from you with any of your thoughts about God or source energy or consciousness. And so I was looking up stuff about God, and this particular source I found has 7 major words for God. I mean, I just gave you some words that are not even on this list: source and creator and universal consciousness or pure consciousness, pure light. But here's another one that's on a Bible website that has 7 words for God, and they are mind. They're saying that mind is synonymous with God, and so this is something we can kind of ponder. They're saying that spirit is synonymous with God. Soul is God. So this is just something that I'm bringing up, and if you disagree or if you have something to say, please do call me and we can talk about it. Principle, I'll be talking about this. Principle. So these are words that may help you think about God in a new or different way. Life is God. So I'm just pondering these as I'm just saying them to you at the same time. I'm pondering them. Truth is God. And love, of course, love is God. Actually, that should be the primary. Love is God. And there are 7 words that some people might consider synonymous with God. And this is a huge list of words under those 7, a huge list. I don't know if you can see that, but under each word, mind, spirit, soul, principle, life, truth, and love, those 7 words that are the words for God, have probably another 50 words under them. So you almost could say that God is everything, right? In fact, God is everything. God is in everything. source energy, spirit, vibration, soul, spirit, love. All these words, principle, I'm going to bring up that word because that's a strange one for me. All these concepts are God. And in fact, you are God and I am God. Oh my gosh, how can I say such a thing? Well, pretty much everything is God. Not pretty much, everything is God. God created everything in his image. That's what it says in Genesis in the Bible. God created everything in his image. And for some reason I was reading, excuse me, about that today, this past week. For some reason I had this warped kind of thought in my mind that when I read those words that what man looks like is what God looks like. And then I realized God created man in his image, in the image of God. If God created man in his image and we can't see God, then we can't see man either. So man is really the unseen spiritual realms, right? Huh. So God is everywhere and in everything, including me and you. Not only in me, of me, I am it. However, we have separated ourselves from that. We have separated ourselves to be in these physical bodies because we are also spiritual bodies. We are also infinite energy fields, as we've spoken of before on the show. However, we have incarnated into these physical bodies to learn, to understand, and to grow closer to that which we were, God self, our God self. So I thought I'd mention just a couple of these other words, and then I'm going to talk about an earthly kind of connection with God, and that is, since we're in March right now, moving towards springtime, spring in a couple weeks, officially starts in a couple weeks, I wanted to look at God from an earth perspective, which is how seeds germinate. Because if you look at how a seed germinates, we don't really totally, fully, scientifically understand the basis of how a particular seed makes a particular plant, or how, in human consideration, how a baby has a certain color, certain characteristics. I know we think it's the genes that do that, but what makes the sperm and the egg come together, these two different cells come together and multiply and choose? Because there's a choice. I mean, every child in one family does not look exactly alike, right? There's a choice. There's a selection process. And from my perspective, that is God. That is consciousness. That is source energy making that choice. That is the environment, or something outside of the egg and the sperm coming together. Because if that was true, that every egg and sperm had the perfection in each of them, then each creation would be exactly alike, and all creations are absolutely different. There are no creations that are exactly alike, in fact. Just like there are no snowflakes exactly alike, there are no fingerprints exactly alike. We are all unique. And that uniqueness, from my perspective, from what I understand, comes from source, comes from God, comes from the unseen world of the Creator within us and around us, that helps us to become who we are. And so helping us, helping me, helping you get in touch with that, and understanding that, and knowing every single day, and connecting with that every single day, to just have gratitude and gratefulness for that, to, wow, this is an amazing place that we live in. This is an amazing world that we live in. We are amazing people. How is it that I can take that understanding and then improve my life, and then become happier and healthier and stronger, which is what I strive to do. And I'm here having this show, this program, hoping to give you some good information to help you improve your life as well. That's why I believe I'm here on the show. And so let's breathe and accept the fact that we are all here to improve ourselves, no matter what it is we're doing. in our lives. And so before I go on with too many of those words about God, I thought I'm going to do a little, I don't know if it's a scientific demonstration, but a little demonstration. I have brought here today some seeds that I have grown, or my former partner and I have grown, actually. And so in this little jar, I have some, I'll take them out and spread them on the thing here. I have some ancient corn, Anasazi corn seeds. So these are black. They came on, there was a corn, ear of corn that was all these black. It was a black ear of corn. We saved the seeds. We dried the whole ear and saved the seeds. And these seeds here are string beans. They may look familiar to you if you've ever seen, when you eat a string bean, you'll see these inside the string bean. They're green. These happen to be brown. So these are string bean seeds. And in this little jar, I have pumpkin seeds that came out of a pumpkin. I don't know if I actually grew that pumpkin, but, so, whoops, slippery. Okay, so we have pumpkin seeds that came from a pumpkin that I dried, and these are bean seeds that I actually dried that grew in my garden, and these are dark Anasazi corn seeds that I also grew in my garden. So what we're going to do is we're going to start an experiment, or a process of connecting in with God based on the seeds, because this is a time of year that if you're going to have a garden this year, even if you have a patio garden or a container garden in your apartment, even here in the city, or if you have a garden out where you have some land, a plot of land, now is the time to start your seeds, or it might even be past the time, but at least starting your seeds this week would be the best thing for you to do to get a good start on the season, so that by the time the snow leaves, which hopefully will be sooner rather than later, but there's so much out there, who knows how long that's going to take. But you want to be able to put your plants in the ground by June 1st, usually by Memorial Day, which is usually the end of frost in New Hampshire. And so if you start your seeds indoors right now, they should be matured enough by, let's say, March, April, May, 3 months, or middle of May. If you have a hothouse or a covering you can put over them, you will start them now, and it takes sometimes a week or two for them to germinate. Now, what does germinate mean? Well, what we're going to do here, what I'm going to do with these seeds that I just showed you, is I'm going to begin the germination process. And that process is when the seed starts to sprout. How long does it take from the time a seed is put in the ground in the darkness until it starts to sprout green out of the soil? And rather than using soil, I didn't bring any soil, I have brought some little jars with wet paper towel in them, and sometimes we can start seeds sprouting that way, so we can see them in the jar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, so I have these jars empty, but I've put water, I'm not going to dump it out, but I have water on top of paper towel in there. And I'm going to put a couple of these, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those corn seeds in this particular jar. I'm going to close it up for now, but when I get home I'll probably open it up, because I'm going to bring these back later at another show. And I'm going to put the couple of these bean seeds in this jar, and I think 3 should be enough. I'll do 4. And then this jar, again, these are empty jars with a little bit of water in the bottom, and some paper towel to absorb the water, which is sort of a growing medium. It'll get them started. And so I'm going to put a few pumpkin seeds in that jar. And what we're going to do is we're going to see how long it takes for them to germinate. Now, because I've had all of these seeds in these jars, these corn seeds I've had for probably could be 20 years, 15 to 20 years. I've had them in a sealed jar, so we'll see if they can germinate. So I've saved my seeds, and these are what they call open pollinated seeds, which means they're not hybrids. They open pollinated means that they've been well, I don't really know if that I understand totally what open pollinated means. That they can pollinate, I guess, again and again, whereas if you buy hybrid seeds in the store, like burpee seeds, they do not reproduce the seeds from those plants do not reproduce. So if you were to buy some burpee seeds of corn, some corn seeds, grow some of your corn and save an ear and dry the ear, and then put the corn kernels dried in a jar of that I believe that will not reproduce, that will not germinate, because it's hybrid. It's been bred to only do one season of corn. So, and again, these are my string bean seeds that have been in this jar for probably about the same amount of time as these corn seeds. So hopefully we'll see if they germinate. And these pumpkin seeds have been, these probably are newer, because I think I took them out of an organic pumpkin that I had one Halloween, and I actually made pumpkin something with it. And so these are not as old. So we're going to see how long it takes for these to germinate. I'm going to bring them home and go take it from there. And I will bring them back probably soon when they germinate, maybe in 2 weeks or 1 week or 3 weeks. I'm not really sure. And if they don't germinate, I'll bring them back and show you they didn't germinate. And why am I doing this? What is the point? Well, bringing up the point that it's time to plant seeds, number one, but also the fact that what is involved here with these seeds just sitting in water. Yes, the water's happening. The soil and the darkness sometimes is important, depending on the plant. But there's a kernel of energy, of source, of God in these seeds, a potential. There's a potential in all the seeds, even in the egg and the sperm of the human being. There's a potential for new life. And that potential will and is a big factor in the health of these plants, and in what kind of plant, how many plants and how many ears of corn one plant will have, or how many string beans one string bean plant will have. How is that determined? I believe it's determined from source, and it also could be determined from my attention to these seeds from this moment on, my caring for them, my watering of them, or I may go home and put them in soil. So that because some seeds do need darkness and soil to germinate. So I'm going to go home and look that up and bring them back when they've germinated. And when you see a seed that has the green sprout coming out of it, to me, it is so magical. It's so magical to see life coming from this amazing seed plant. How can that be? To me, that's a miracle of life, and it's also to me, and hopefully you can see this, a symbol of God's energy, God's design in these seeds, creating life from them, creating so much life from them. Like this little thing of corn, that's not even one. There's a lot more seeds from one ear of corn than what I have here. I just took a little bit of it, and that ear of corn, how many ears were on a plant? I don't know. It could be 3 or 4. It could be 5 or 6. I don't know how many ears of corn are on one plant. And that plant came from one of these tiny seeds. So one seed makes a whole stalk of a whole corn plant, and each corn plant can then multiply by every one of these thousands of seeds that it has on each ear of corn. Wow, that is a miracle. That is the miracle of life. That is the design. That is a miracle of the design of God, of source, of creator, of all the unseen, miraculous love that is in the universe and here on the earth. So I just become amazed at that all the time, to know how life works and how miraculous it is, and how unseen the forces are of God and source energy just creating these things. We really don't understand the total mechanics of them totally scientifically. And so that's where God comes in. That's where source energy comes in. That's where love comes in, because God is love, isn't it? God is love. And some say God is a he, some say God is a goddess, a she. I'm not saying either way. But here's some synonyms for God and love, which are kindness, goodness, unselfishness, forgiveness, patience, obedience, generosity, loyalty, mercy, devotion, friendliness, etc. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Then the words for God, the principle. What does principle mean as far as God is? Causation, force, as an energy force. Fairness is a principle. Security is a principle. Continuity is a principle. So there's some thoughts around God and the miracle that is God. I'm going to do a little mindfulness bell on that. In other traditions of spirituality, they have other words for the English word of God, and they may be Allah, they may be Krishna, they may be Great Spirit. So what is your word for God? How do you connect in with the unseen world of the infinite that is in control of everything and creates everything? How do you express that? You might have something different. Feel free to call me and let me know and talk about it on the show right now. Okay. The next thing, moving on. I've been really fascinated lately with not only Bruce Lipton, which I talked about last week, but and the week before, but also Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, D-Y-E-R. It's taken me a while to warm up to him, but he has some amazing information out there about living your life more fully, more happily, finding your passion, finding your direction in life. And I was looking back at some of my notes, and I'm not sure where these came from, but the three great enemies of growth and happiness. Three great enemies of growth and happiness. Do we really have enemies of happiness? Yes, of course we do. So the three great enemies are doubt, delay, and division. So doubt, doubt means I don't trust that this is going to happen. Delay there's a time delay. There's a factor of time that gets in the way, and division, dividing, which is divide and conquer, right? Division gets in the way of our happiness. Division, we are all one. So have faith, take action, and use that God word, love, to connect in with your happiness. So, moving into what Wayne Dyer was talking about. I just lost my page. There we go. Dr. Wayne Dyer has written many, many books, self-help books, and helping people to understand who they are and how to find happiness and how to find your passion in life, how to live in this present moment. Why do you want to live in this present moment? So he's really written and done a lot of audio programs and DVDs, video programs as well, on how to be happy in your life. And if you've watched the show very much in the past, you know that that's one of the backbones of the show is how to be happy, how can I live my life in a better way so that I enjoy life and live it fully and live it heartfeltly and help the rest of the world come along and rise up to our God self, or up to the highest level that we possibly can, so that we can enjoy life, so that I can enjoy life, and that joy ripples out into so that you can enjoy life. And that's partly what the show is about. That's why I'm here. That's why I produce the show and bring this to you, so that as I'm here doing what I do, it will ripple out into you, the audience, into you, the viewer, helping you to maybe find a kernel of something in all of this that I do every week for an hour, with either with myself or with a guest. And hopefully every week you can find something to grab hold of to help yourself in some way improve your life. That is the goal of New Earth lifestyles. And as I spoke of the beginning of the show about the changes that are happening as we move into the equinox, the spring equinox, and the new moon at the same day, and the lunar eclipse the same day, change is everything. Everything is changing all the time, and this is a time of taking advantage of all the energy shifts that are happening, the unseen energy shifts that are happening. And just so be curious about your life. Is it becoming more difficult? Are things happening very rapidly for you in one way or another that you want to be able to harness and bring control over? Have you found your passion in life? Are you doing what you love to do in whatever your life holds for you? Are you doing what you love to do? And we all are here to do that. And that's one of these principles that I wanted to talk about, that from Wayne Dyer's 10 Principles of Success and Inner Peace. And inner peace is something that I strive for a lot. It's not something that comes easily for me, actually, but it's the more I can experience it, the more we can experience inner peace. Again, that ripple of inner peace goes out into our environment and is felt by others. And if we really want to stop the wars of this world, we need to stop the wars going on in our own physiology, in our own mental capacity, in our own thoughts, and our own behaviors, and how we behave toward ourselves as well as how we behave toward another. Because pretty much however we are within our own mind and body, that's how we act out into the world. And so if there are things that you don't like about yourself, that you have thoughts about yourself that are destructive, say, like I don't deserve this, or I'm no good, or I can't do this, or whatever, if you have those thoughts actually are energy that are felt out here, and you attract more of that to you. And so what if you thought about yourself as, I love myself. I'm doing a great job. I'm doing the best I can do. I'm so grateful for everything I have around me. All of that energy then would come back to you, because you'd be sending it out, and when it finds itself out there, it would come back to you. So what ripples out does ripple back. And so one of these principles that I wanted to talk about today that Wayne Dyer talks about is so I'm going to present it more as a question rather than a statement. That is, what if we, or you, or me, or I, what if I have a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing? What does that mean? What if I have a mind, my thoughts are open to everything and attached to nothing? Well, you may think, I'm not attached to anything. Everything flows in my life easily and effortlessly. Well, our upbringing as children, from the time of conception to about 6 or 7 years old, at that time of our lives, everything we believe now as adults came into us from our environment, from our family of origin, from our parents or our primary caregivers. So that information, those belief systems came in and became embedded in our personality and our characterology, and we didn't have any say over that. Because we were here, defenseless children, infants. Not only were we, defenseless, we couldn't walk, we couldn't talk when we were born. In the beginning developmental stages, we were dependent on our caregivers, and so a lot of our belief system is so subconscious that we don't even realize we're attached to things or what it is that we are attached to. So this first principle of Wayne Dyer's, have a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing, for me, gives me an opportunity to look at what I'm attached to. What am I attached to? What am I attached to? I always entertain great hopes. That was a quote by Robert Frost that goes along with being open to everything and attached to nothing. I always entertain great hopes. Do I? That's a Robert Frost quote. Robert Frost said that. Excuse me. I always entertain great hopes. Well, that would say, am I a pessimist or am I an optimist? And that quote would be optimistic, wouldn't it? It would be, oh, I'm always hopeful. And if I bring that into my awareness right now, I can't say that I'm always hopeful. In fact, lots of times I lose hope in my life. Excuse me again. Lots of times I lose hope in my life. How does that feel to you out there? Are you always hopeful? I know I'm hopeful a lot, but I can't say that I'm always hopeful. I always entertain great hopes. And you know what's interesting for me is when I am in the company of others that don't have hope, my desire in that moment is to turn that around so that that person or group can find something to be hopeful about. So my undercurrent is I want hope, and when I see non-hope in others, I recognize it, and probably because I see it in myself, and I find ways to uplift that person and find hope, find some optimistic point of view. And so this brings us to that old cliche, is the glass half empty or is the glass half full? And I toy with that once in a while. What do I believe? Do I believe the glass is half empty or do I believe the glass is half full? And what does that mean anyway? So I guess what it means is if you think the glass is half empty, then you might be a pessimist. But if you think the glass is half full, then that might be a definition of an optimist. In other words, there's hope because it's filling up. Whereas the pessimist would be thinking it's half empty, which means it's getting emptier and emptier. And so that kind of talks about, well, what are we attached to there? We're attached to being empty or being full. And the thing that I was just talking about early with our childhood and the fact that we don't really have control over a lot of our pretty much all of our beliefs, or our basic true beliefs are so ingrained in us before we reach the age of 6, and we had no choice over those beliefs, that you could say that we are a function of that. We're a function of our tribe or our family of origin. You could call your tribe your family of origin, your family of origin your tribe. So we are a function of all that upbringing that we had as in utero and as infants and small children. So he's urging us to open your mind to everything. Open your mind to everything and be attached to nothing. Be attached to nothing. So one of the things that was in the news recently was the anniversary of actually it was President Lincoln's birthday. And also coming up, President Lincoln's second inaugural address, I believe was early March. When did I hear that? Tuesday or Wednesday of this week was the anniversary of President Lincoln's second inaugural speech, which was actually ending the Civil War, which was a war fought over slavery, is what they say. And so racism, how do you feel about racism? Can you have an open mind about people of color or people that are different than you? For me, I'm Caucasian, so for me it would be people of color. With people of color, it might be Caucasians. Like Native Americans, probably, who knows how they are, how they think about the other. I know many of them do not hold white Caucasians very highly because we came to this country. Columbus landed here and annihilated most of them, and was still annihilating many, many Native people even today. That is the poorest part of the United States, is the reservations. all over the country. Out west, even reservations in Maine, in our own backyard, the poorest places on earth, rather in the United States. The poorest places in the United States are not the inner cities. They are the reservations where the native people have been herded to try and survive, and they're still trying to survive to this day. And how do you feel about that? Are you open to that? Can you grasp that? Can you take responsibility for that as an American citizen? For me, that's a difficult thing for me to do as well. I do have Native American heritage, and my Native American heritage was never lived. In other words, my family never recognized it or never taught us about it, because I come from the eastern woodlands peoples, which were pretty much annihilated in the 1700s, and so my family ran and did not want anyone to know that they had Native ancestry. And so that does color my ability to be open to everything, doesn't it? That's an ingrained belief that I am still working with and doing process work within my own psychology, my own beliefs. So so as I talk about this for myself, I'm always curious about you, the viewer, and how that is for you. Bringing it back to you, and how does this all resonate with you? I would love to get a call from you, though I know some of you may be watching this later when it's recorded. However, you can call in 413-0223. Everything attached to nothing. Have a mind that is open to everything that is attached to nothing. And so that brings us back around to the sprout of the seeds, the seedlings that I brought, and I wanted us to be able to, me to share with you, watching them sprout. So if you look at a sprout, and that's partly why I brought them today, is because I am curious about how all this happens. And I might even be able to take photographs of them as they begin to sprout, to see a hard seed cracking open just by being in a medium of water. Or I may also put some other seeds in soil. But when you see them open, it's such magic. It's, how can this happen? And it's such life, to see life. Like, these seeds have been sitting in these jars for 15, 20 years, dormant. How can they all of a sudden bring life? Hopefully they will. But many seeds, the seeds are saved for many, many generations, lots of times, sealed in jars, in airtight containers, or containers that keep them dry inside. And that is such potential for life, isn't it? Such potential for, and how can we feel about that as far as being attached to it or not? I guess that's part of the question. Are we attached to it or not? So, and can we resist being a pessimist? Because even the sprouting of the seeds, right? We can have a pessimistic attitude. Well, then they're never going to sprout. Those are so old, they're not going to sprout. Or we can have an optimistic attitude. All those seeds are going to sprout like that in a week, and they're going to grow, and they're going to make new plants, and they'll feed the population, feed me, feed you, feed whoever. So we can choose optimism, or we can choose pessimism. The optimist has hope, right? The optimist is hopeful about everything and everyone. So resist being the pessimist, and everything is possible. We're talking, because I guess the part of what I also wanted to bring God into this all about was there was miracles. Miracles happen. These seeds germinating. That is a miracle. How does that happen? That is God. That is God at work. God is miracle. God is a miracle. Miracles are just things that science can't prove, right? That's all a miracle is, something that science can't prove. Well, science doesn't know everything, obviously, or else they'd be able to show all these miracles happening. The same thing with spontaneous remission, spontaneous healing. There are millions, there are so many cases of people having cancer and having spontaneous remission like that, for one reason or another, because they went to a practitioner, because they changed their belief system, for all different reasons, because they got in touch with their God self. Who knows why? But spontaneous remission, which means that a person had cancer, or a person was sick with something, the deadly illness at this point, and some miracle happened, and they no longer have the symptoms. That's what spontaneous healing is called. That's about changing your outlook, changing your beliefs, and having optimism and knowing that miracles can happen. Excuse me. Miracles can happen. Be optimistic. Everything is good. Move it forward. It's called a miracle mindset. What do you think about all day long? We have about 60,000 thoughts a day. Wow, that is a lot of thought. A lot of brain work going on. I don't know, I can't remember what percentage of them, but the majority percentage of our thoughts are repeated thoughts over and over. They're loops. And the majority of them are also negative toward ourselves many times, unless you've moved into a place of self-care that is above the majority of Western world anyway. So many of those 60,000 thoughts are thoughts toward ourselves, self-deprecating thoughts. What if you were to think about your miracle, your potential as a miracle mindset, if you changed your mind? What if when you noticed, if you could notice in the moment when you think a negative thought about yourself or about another person, any kind of a negative thought, a degrading thought about another or a degrading thought about yourself, either way, that is bringing down the energy of the planet, bringing down the energy of the earth. As the ripple effect, in the beginning that I talked about, the ripple effect goes out and comes back. So what if you were to have a miracle mindset, which means as soon as you thought that negative thought, what if you instantaneously stopped that thought and believed in a miracle happening instead? Only good can come of this. Only the best can happen with this. Only all these plants are going to sprout seeds. All of whatever's going to happen for the highest good of all is going to happen for the highest and best interest of all people, of all beings, of the whole earth, of the whole world. What if you were to change your mindset to the miracle mindset? I once had a client when I first started my energy healing practice in New London, and she was on the healing table. It's like a massage table, fully clothed, and I was holding her feet. And when I hold your feet in a healing way, I put my thumbs on the solar plexus points at the bottoms of your feet, which is roughly right in there. If you consider my hand, your foot, right below this muscly part is where the solar plexus point is. And so I was holding this client at the bottoms of her feet there. My thumbs were on those solar plexus points, and I was grounded myself. And we moved into a higher realm in that moment, and she actually had the experience of levitating, and I had the experience of levitating as well. What is levitation? It's moving up. It's being weightless, no gravity. And I can firmly say that experience of being weightless and that levitation, I was experiencing it, and she got off the table and she was really kind of trembling because it was a scary experience for her, understandably. But that is the miracle mindset, that we both went into this neutral range or neutral mode of our thoughts, or we were just elevated into this whole different dimension where levitation became possible. That's the miracle mindset. Thinking that what someone has taught you is the only way it can be is not the only way it can be. It can be anything can be true. We can all levitate. The gravity that we say is the rule of the earth, or the law of being on the earth plane, can be dispelled by other forces that are miracles by God. So let's have a little breathing on this. Slow me down. A miracle mindset and spontaneous healing. Those are things that can happen. They are truths that happen day to day throughout the United States, throughout the world, all the time. And can we believe in that? Can we allow ourselves to really be open to everything happening, to be open to the to be open to everything and attached to nothing. that can be a difficult thing because we're all attached to something, aren't we? We're all attached to something. What is it that we're attached to? That's really the first question. Just be aware of that as you move throughout your day. Am I attached to this? Am I attached to that? Do I have a really strong belief around this particular subject, or do I have a strong belief around that? Become curious about your belief systems, and those are your attachments. That's your attachment, and some of that may not be healthy for you because you learned them so early in life that you did not choose those beliefs. They were kind of ingrained in you in your early childhood development. And in your early childhood development, that's when the delta stage of frequency of mind is predominantly in the first 7 years, where the child is in a delta stage and then a theta from the age of 3 to 7. The theta stage, which is a hypnotic state. Theta is a hypnotic state of the mind where the frequency is very low, and therefore you're like a sponge. You take everything in, and it just goes in. It goes into your mind. So yeah, let go of the attachments that you've been trained to believe. And that can be a tough one. Let go of the attachments you've been trained to believe. Many of you know that I was an accountant for the first 25 years of my working life, of my professional life. I was an accountant, and I wasn't trained as an accountant. I was trained as I got trained in mathematics, and I started when I got out of college. I was going to be a math teacher when I got out of college, but I didn't have a good experience in my student teaching, so I just got out of college and went right into the lower level of accounting, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and that type of thing, and worked my way up through the years into a general ledger accountant through my understandings. But as an accountant, I had a very strong belief system, very conservative, very patriotic, and I believed in so strongly in the certain way that I was, this conservative way, that when I saw someone, a woman with a long flowing dress, long hair, and Birkenstocks, like a hippie, I had this thought in my mind that was not positive about that person. I made a judgment that was not positive. I couldn't accept that person as they were in my own mind. However, when I had these health things come along, health issues, while I was an accountant, it shifted me, opened me up. I went to herbal things. I started studying herbs because I didn't want to be confined to the medical model of drugs and surgery. So I started studying plants as healers. And lo and behold, I became one of those people wearing flowing skirts and Birkenstocks and long hair, and I became like a hippie. So my belief system totally went the other way, totally from conservative to wide open. I still have that conservative way in my background, so there's still more conservative, straight line, straight and narrow, and blinders on certain subjects. But I was able to, I just shifted my whole outlook on life to become open to things that I, in the past, was not open to. In the past, I would have very negative connotations in my mind's eye about certain things. And now I look at those and I'm trying to be more awake and aware and soft and accepting of everyone and everything. And this is a process for me that I'm inviting you to look at. How are you with all of that, with all of this? Can you let go of some of these attachments? Because I let go of that attachment to being conservative. So that I let go of that whole thing about being an accountant. I let go of my whole belief around needing insurance. I let go of the whole belief around needing a 401k. I let go of the whole belief around needing to go to work and come home every single day of my life to earn a living. I let go of all of that. Everything crumbled, changed. I no longer have a 401k. I no longer have health insurance, and I no longer go to a job every day. I'm self-employed. So My belief systems have all gone into a different, totally different direction, and helping me to be a happier, healthier human being. And I believe we all can do that. So that's, for me, there was a huge release of attachments around having a job and all of that stuff I just mentioned. There was a huge release of all of those attachments. It was gradual. It wasn't like one day I did it and one day I was done with it. It was gradual. It took time. Although I have to say, I did cold turkey leave my job with no benefits. So I had, all my life, I had these wonderful benefits, and then I quit my job, and luckily my partner was supporting me. He said he'd support me. I didn't have any benefits anymore, nor did he. He was also always self-employed. So I did jump off the cliff in that direction, that respect. And letting go of all those attachments, the attachment of needing insurance, the attachment of needing a 401k, the attachment of needing a retirement. And I continually believe, I continue to believe that all is well in my world and that I am taken care of. How? I'm taken care of by my belief in the one, the all, the source energy that is me, that is all around me, and is taking care of not only me, but all of us. And sometimes I revert back, and sometimes I get scared, and sometimes I think, oh, what the heck am I doing? Am I crazy? But for the most part, I stay aligned to where I am and to where I'm going. So that is where we all can go in one way or another. So there we have it, talking about God, talking about these sprouts that will be sprouting. I'm not going to say hopefully. These sprouts are going to sprout because I am optimistic. I'm an optimistic person moving forward now in that way. And before we're kind of winding down, getting close to the end of our time today, before we close, I did want to mention a couple things that are coming up. And I did in the beginning talk about spring equinox on March 20th, and I will be having a ceremony that day in my studio. If you're interested in coming and joining us doing some drumming, we're going to be celebrating spring equinox on Friday the 20th at 6 o'clock, and you can get a hold of me by calling me on the phone number on your screen. Or you can go on my website and contact me there. And this ceremony is going to be honoring the equinox, which is balance. We're going to also honor the thunder ceremony of the Lakota people, which is about the horses. And we'll also, the third thing we're going to celebrate is the United Nations Day of Water Ceremony Day, honoring the water on this planet, because we are really killing the water. So the United Nations has declared March 20th as the World Water Day every year to honor our water. So those are the three things we're going to celebrate on March 20th, along with a new moon and the lunar eclipse. So if you want to join me, that'd be great. Now, next week on my show, I will have Debbie Hoffman-Adair, and I met Debbie at her Network Palooza, which was a self-employment people networking event in Hooksett, New Hampshire, and she's going to come on my show next week, so hopefully you'll join me then. And if you have any questions for Debbie at that time, you will be able to call in and talk with her. And remember that I do have my YouTube channel if you want to watch any of my back shows, my previous shows, or if you want to send this show to someone else to watch another time, please do go on to YouTube, New Earth Lifestyles. That's the name of my YouTube channel. So thanks for joining me today, and I'll keep you posted on these seeds that we have planted together. And until next week, remember, your heart knows the way.